I've interviewed you before. I asked you what message you had for Elon Musk, and you famously said that he could fuck off. I asked you what you would say to Donald Trump, and you said that he should grow a spine and stop being Putin's hoe. So I want to ask you about another person. Would you mind?
These cannot be the quotes.
So,
You gonna put her next to me?
if you could speak directly to Marjorie Taylor Greene, what would you tell her?
I would tell her that she needs to maybe watch PBS and learn how to read.
I'll take it.
I mean, we can start there before we get anywhere else.
That's good. That's a good start. So you played a game recently in a Hill committee called Trump or Trans, where you asked
It was in hers. It was in her subcommittee.
in her subcommittee, and you asked the guest to guess whether something heinous was caused by Donald Trump or a member of the trans community. I was hoping to play a game like that called Marjorie Taylor Greene or Insane Comic Villain. So
Okay.
I'm going to read you quotes, and they're either said by Marjorie Taylor Greene or an insane comic villain. And we'll see how you do. They pretend the system is fair. I've seen both sides. It's rigged against people like us.
That sounds like Marjorie.
Okay. Here's another one. The truth is whatever I say it is, and they hate me for it.
That definitely sounds like it could be her too.
They're all insane comic villains. So, first one was Two-Face, then Joker.
These are all things that she could have said.
Do you think she believes her nonsense, or do you think it's for MAGA clicks and fundraising?
She believes it. She's for real, like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Okay. You're a lawyer. You're one of the best Democratic communicators. Why does MAGA fear you so much?
I have my theories. I think MAGA has gotten away with being the bullies, and they come and they beat up and they drag people, and that's kind of the end of it. And instead, if you hit me, just know that I'm going to hit back, and chances are I'm going to hit harder. And I think that that is one of the reasons that MAGA in general fears me, because it's not what they're necessarily used to seeing come out of Democrats, because there kind of is this intention to make sure that you remain at some level of decorum. But if you gonna get down in the mud, baby, we gonna be there together. That is my attitude. Now, if you want to rise above and really just focus on the real issues and do that, I can do it all. But as somebody who did criminal defense, I had to be able to walk into a courtroom and present and represent for someone and maybe save their lives. But also, I had to make sure, even if you were a killer, that you knew not to play with me. So for me, I'm like, MAGA's no match.
I want to ask you about Donald Trump and the plane from Qatar. And they were trying to transfer it in 2029 to his presidential library. Are you more surprised of the corruption of it all, or the fact that a president who could barely read has a library?
I'm probably going to go with the latter. There is no level of corruption when it comes to Donald Trump that surprises me. Really what is most appalling is all of those that stand around and allow it to happen. The idea that we have somebody that is willing to sell us out for the latest gold toilet, whether it is on a plane or otherwise, is absolutely insane and ridiculous. And it is, it's got to be bad when some of MAGA decides that they even got to chime in, and say something. That you have to be a new level of shitty when they will say that their cult leader is wrong. The reality is that we have an attorney general that is not an attorney general. She's an attorney general in name only. As far as I'm concerned, she's nothing more than or less than an accomplice who is aiding and abetting a known criminal to continue to commit criminal acts. He is a walking, consistent constitutional crisis. And now, these things are harmful to us. And he is literally like the king of grifting. And yep. I'm tired. We should all be tired. And if I can't even have a job, if I can't even go get a job, let me go get a job so I can make extra money, because that's a violation of ethics. If I go make over, I think, $30,000 outside of this job, or if I'm not allowed to get a book deal where they can pay me more than $30,000 and I can't have a signing bonus. As a sitting member of Congress who has less power than him, I am more constrained than he is. That doesn't make sense.
Do you think there's enough days in a year to investigate all of Donald Trump's crimes?
No, there's not. But I do think that there is time for us to really hone in on a few big things and make sure that we really take our time fleshing out those things for the American people so that when we get to the midterms, they are thinking about all of the corruption that's taking place and the accomplices, those that have decided that they will abdicate their duties and instead just allow him to engage in this terrible behavior.
You consider running for oversight chair.
Yes.
Why do you think you're the best candidate for that position?
I think I'm uniquely qualified for a couple of reasons. Number one, I have a legal background. This really is an investigative committee. The president loves to have my name in his mouth. And so I can't imagine anyone being more intimidating for him and this administration than me. And frankly, you know, the fact that I do speak my mind, the fact that I do it authentically and aggressively, it has led to lots of death threats on my life. And I don't think that anyone should endure that, no matter what side of the aisle they're from. But I am used to kind of taking the punches. And that's not to say that my other colleagues are not fighters. I'm not saying that. I am here to say, though, that I am someone that when it comes to the outside, they absolutely see as one of their fighters. So I think that that is something else that matters in this role, because we are the ones that would go after all of the fraud and waste and abuse that we see this administration engaging in. And since he's been in office on oversight, as of now, I've actually led the beginning of more investigations than most other people on the committee. And then the final point that I'll make is I wanted to look, when you get here and they talk to you about leadership, they put a big emphasis on money. And from a monetary standpoint, we have been very aggressive on raising for the caucus. We've been very aggressive about giving to the caucus. I have taken over 100 trips specifically to help out other candidates all over the country. We have to think about what happens in 4 years and whether or not there is that enthusiasm from the base, because we saw, yes, Donald Trump won, but what we saw that was really harmful for us is that we saw a fall off of participation from our base. And so I think this is a way to really give the people something that they want to see, but also with my ability to communicate. I tell people all the time, regardless of how people feel about President Biden, I think he still was one of the best presidents that we will ever have. And it wasn't that he was a bad president. It was that we really weren't telling the stories. We weren't getting it out, what all he was doing and how it was positively impacting people's families. And so I think that it's not only important to be able to do the job, but be able to explain it. And I think that that's another place that I excel.
I see comments all the time. Every time I post about you, people say, I wish there were more Democratic lawmakers like Representative Jasmine Crockett. To you, what does that mean? What makes you different?
I think one of the things that makes me different is that I'm kind of okay with being fired. You know, I
That's
mean,
important. It's, not common.
Yeah, I am okay. I don't think that my life will end. Not to say that the other colleagues do, but I do know that there is, a large emphasis on the next election. And frankly, I very rarely think about my next election. It's funny because I would have to ask a staffer who it is that's running against me. I have people that are running in my primary. I've got at least one, if not two, Republicans that are running against me. And none of that phases me. I am not worried about it. I think that if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And I focus every day on serving my constituents. I don't focus on, am I going to get reelected? So I'm so nervous if I make a vote that maybe somebody may think is going to be a bad vote. Or if I say something and somebody like Fox News wants to blow it up. And, I'm not concerned about that. I am concerned about making sure that the issues that matter most to my constituents, that I am representing for them and making sure that their issues come to the forefront. And, I think that there is kind of consistent fear on both sides, to be clear, about, am I going to win re-election? So you have Republicans that right now won't move and won't do what's right for their own constituency because they're concerned about whether or not Trump is going to support them. I'm not that girl, right? And, ultimately I recognize that the seat is not mine. I am the occupant of the seat. The seat belongs to the people. And I trust the people when they decide that they want somebody else, I'm okay with it. I'm accepting of that.
If you could speak to yourself as a kid, what would you tell yourself now that you know that you're one of everyone's favorite congresswomen? What would you say?
I'd probably tell myself to avoid politics, go actually meet the fake husband that they've all made up for me. Maybe have kids do something on the personal side of my life. I have dedicated my life to others. And honestly, you know, every job that I've had has been pretty thankless. But I've always felt a sense of purpose in doing it. But at some point in time, it wears on you. And, you know, to know that I've represented real killers and didn't have to worry about whether or not somebody was actually going to try to bring harm to me. And now, as an elected official, you know, I have to worry about those things. I just don't know. I don't know if I would have taken another road, if that would have been a happier road. But I can say that I am here now, and I truly do believe that I am only here because God placed me here, not because of anything really that spectacular about me. I think that we all have our own journeys that we walk, and I think that God decides what that journey should look like. And unfortunately, there are people that gave their life so that I could walk this journey. And so I walk it. But heavy is the head that wears the crown. And so I just hope and pray that my work is not in vain. I hope and pray that the sacrifices that have been made along the way are not in vain. And I hope and pray that our country can start to come together and give that little girl, Jasmine, the one that's coming after me, those little girls, the type of futures that they deserve.
Well, thanks. As a father of a 3-year-old, I thank you so much too. And I know it's a thankless job, but I'll say thank you so much for today. It was an honor, and I appreciate you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Good
Thank
to
you.
see you.
Thank you.